Sirogojno is a small mountain village on the slopes of Zlatibor. In Serbia, it will be hard to find a person who will not immediately associate the name of this village with local knitters and characteristic sweaters. But this site has found its prominent place on the cultural map of our country, and because of another important and unique thing, the Open House Museum Old Village. Miss Dobrila Vasiljevic-Smiljanić, way back in 1962, launched a multi-layered homework project based on tradition and values of the rural way of life and business under the name Sirogojno. This exceptional and, in this region, legendary woman wanted to present and promote the traditional creativity of this region in a better way. It is precisely from her, that is, from the work organization of knitters from Sirogojno, the idea for the construction of the museum. Department of Cultural Properties Protection supported this initiative, believing that in this way a significant group of folk architecture monuments would be protected, Starovlaška brvnara, a specially developed type of house spread in the settlements of the Dinaric mountain regions of Montenegro, Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. The next phase in the construction of the museum was research carried out in 28 Zlatibor villages, whose subjects were not only houses but all types of buildings traditionally built on Zlatibor. In the selection on purchase, so did not only dairies, barns and cooperages, but also shed for drying plums, cottages, watermills and rolling mills, as well as a whole range of items that make up the material culture of the village. 50 objects, distinctive examples of the older type of wooden construction on Zlatibor, were selected, presenting in the best way the richness of architecture and the development of the culture of living in the Zlatibor region at the turn of the 19th century. The selected objects of folk architecture were transferred and placed near the church, built in the middle of the 18th century, dedicated to the apostles Peter and Paul. In this way, on the surface of 5 hectares, a complex was established that was first declared a cultural monument of great importance in 1983, and then, in order to further preservation, maintenance and presentation of the folk culture of Zlatibor's villages, officially constituted the Open Air Museum in 1992. The permanent museum setting consists of 2 Zlatibor households, gardens with residential and commercial buildings, which show us in a faithful and impressive manner the space and way of life of the cooperative village family at the end of the 19th and the beginning of the 20th century. In the household there are 1 Zlatibor 2-part house, the headquarters of a large cooperative family, and at the same time the largest residential building in the household. Along the house there is a whole series of objects of different purposes. In Vajat slept spouses, the dairy served to prepare and preserve cheese and kajmak, and the umber and basket were used to store cereals and corn in a piston. Kačara, a separate room with a bowl for baking rakia, is proof that the inhabitants of this region have been lovers of good rakia since ancient times. A typical household is rounded up by a beehive or oil mill, a bread oven and a shed for drying plums, the so-called mishana. A special part of the household, a summer dwelling place for cattle breeders, was built in the mountain where from spring to autumn the shepherds lay with cattle. It consists of 2 cottages, which in their structure resemble houses, but are significantly smaller in size and with less furnishing, and kucher, a small movable hut, a bed on sledges that serves to keep the shepherd always close to herds of sheep. The display of this part of the household complements the backrats, the cattle forks and the kulača, a primitive cone-shaped breeder's apartment. All buildings in a permanent museum setting are equipped with authentic furniture, dishes and utensils, and visitors can see a variety of tools that were once used in daily work. The exhibited objects are part of the ethnographic collection consisting of textiles, objects for processing wool and hemp, ceramics, means of transport, fragments of all constructions. There are 3 craft workshops in the museum: Kačarska, for making barrels, food and rakia stores, and other wooden articles; pottery, for making earthen pots used for preparing food in an open fireplace; and blacksmith, in which forge household items and various types of tools. In addition to the aforementioned ethnographic, a collection of works of art created in workshops, fine art colonies and summer schools organized in the museum, consisting of paintings, mosaics, sculptures, as well as other works of fine arts and applied arts. This collection also includes numerous gifts that have been donated to the museum over the years by its visitors and admirers, among which there have always been many artists, scientists, cultural and public workers. The museum does not make its scientific and cultural contribution to the local community and society as a whole by the protection and presentation of a permanent museum setting that is permanently completed, but also through a number of other activities, such as demonstration of old crafts in the workshops of the museum, or a valuable publishing activity primarily dedicated to the knowledge of the rich heritage Serbian village through publications from different scientific fields. But as the goal of the museum and the people working in it is by no means the only place of protection and presentation of material culture, great attention is dedicated to the preservation of spiritual and non-material heritage through various programs and events involving a large number of participants and visitors. During the year, in accordance with the calendar of Christian holidays and fall customs, Badnje Veče, Vaskrs, Petrovdan, Ivanjdan, and other important dates from the spring and summer cycle of the holidays are marked. Exhibitions, seminars, concerts, literary meetings, as well as educational programs in the form of workshops and summer schools for pupils and students are held in facilities specially designed for such events, halls, summer stage and educational workshop. For the purpose of easier organization and better functioning of the mentioned activities within the museum, there are utensils intended for accommodation and stay of participants of the program and cottage, in which are offered Zlatibor dishes prepared in a traditional way. The open-air museum Old Village is a unique institution, both for the specificity of content and organization and the diversity of events in it. Therefore, if you are coming to Zlatibor, be sure to visit our museum and see for yourself why it is considered one of the main segments of the otherwise rich tourist offer of this region.